I'm not your gossip girl, I'm the headline. Truth with a curve, baby, redefine. Welcome to the thirst trap. All the truth looks good in a tight wrap. We talk love, power, soul, and sin. Turn the world on, let the light in. Yeah, the thirst trap news. You'll drink it up, it's the real you. They between thirst promos, where every headline's a revelation.
That's cute. I wish my Roomba did that. It doesn't do that. It broke within like 2 months of having it by typically smearing cat poop around the house. So that was wonderful. I love this video. You guys know now what to expect for the show. If you're not scared, we're going to talk about some spiritual stuff. Because, it's Sunday. I had my little morning ritual, so I'm like in a meditative mood. And I want to talk about some spiritual stuff. Hello, Jay. Good to see you. Let's see. Luciano. Big Pine Mine. Alan. Nice. We got a lot of people on. Cool. I have to say, I just got to put this out there. I have like the world's worst case of the butterflies because now there are people following me that I was a fan of that I know watch my show now and follow me. And I'm like a little bit of like fangirling all night long. So, I feel a little, I don't know. I got like the butterflies, a little nervous. It's been a long time since I felt nervous. I remember when I was campaigning for office, I'm telling you, if you did not believe that I wasn't doing this for the fame, I would invite you to ask someone who was around me, my team, before I had to get up and speak. Because every time, the whole 2 years, I would be damn near vomiting. I hate public speaking. This is cool because I'm like at a desk behind the cameras and all that stuff. But now knowing that there's like significant people following me, I'm just like a little eek. A little bit of human I have to show. I gotta explain my quirkiness, my weirdness. But it's really good to see all you guys on a Sunday. I'm surprised. I thought it'd be kind of dead on the chat, but it's not. So it's fun. But a lot of you don't know where I land on the spiritual totem pole. So I am I believe in God in terms of the all, the everything, the infinite, the divine intelligence woven into everything that exists. And I enjoy studying the quantum realm, understanding how our reality is constructed. I grew up in a cult, so that kind of destroys, constructs in, surrounding religion. And you have to start to look at everything from a different standpoint when you want to gain your cognitive faculties back. So it's just led me down a journey where I, feel a lot more enlightened over the last 10 years of my life because I can see things more simply, more for just what they are, based on accepting a lot of what our 3D realm locks us into, the laws of the physical world and how that comes into play in the upper realms, the godly realms. And, I think Jesus is an ascended master. I know that there's other masters. I think Jesus earned divinity. So I recognize the divinity of Jesus Christ. I believe this is his era. He is our savior in terms of redeeming our soul. And I don't believe in hellfire literally as an eternal place of destruction, but I do believe in lower vibrational realms. I do believe in a conscious hell. I believe conscious is eternal. Consciousness, I believe we're all connected on a web of consciousness, part of God. The Bible says that God is within the heart of every man. And that would by default mean that so is the devil. And what we construct as, entities, we really are just the forces of reality that have to coexist. The law of duality. I kind of showed something on it yesterday. But I haven't seen any of the videos ready for me. So, if you're ready to strap in and get into some open-minded topics regarding spirituality, let's hang with me. All right, coming up for you. The meaning of spirituality. Spiritual doesn't mean I'm a pussy. Jesus was a spiritual radical. Christ consciousness in spirituality. The science of spirituality. Does the Bible condemn witches? The truth about the Bible. Ooh. Let's see. We got Baltimore, Bubba Dodge, Justin, Brewski, Cook, CR Cook Forever, Daniel, Beach. What's up? Happy to have you guys. We're talking spiritual stuff today. It's going to be fun. It's open-minded. Let's strap in. Let's look at the first video.
A lot of people try out spirituality, then they revert back to their religion. It's simply because they went into this shit thinking it was going to be this little positive experience where they was going to be happy and singing kumbaya, smoking weed and having crystals and shit. That is not what this shit is. Spirituality is coming to the understanding about life itself. Everything, every aspect of it, the good and the bad. Spirituality is about understanding the conscious and the subconscious mind and the effects that the external world have on it. This is something people don't understand about the mind. When you have a religion, your mind has a set belief system. You have a set belief system about a certain deity and a certain prophet that's going to save you. When you go into spirituality...
So if you notice the yin yang, he's going to talk about the law of duality, which was something I was just talking to you guys about.
You're all on your own. There is no believing in a deity or a prophet that's going to save you. You have to have mental strength to handle everything that's about to come at you.
Because what he's saying is the reason why there's nobody that's going to come down and fix Earth is because the law of duality exists. Evil has to exist because you can't define good without evil and vice versa.
A lot of y'all is not built for that shit. That's why
everything is exactly the way it should be. What's in question is your soul, not the schematics and the politics and the socioeconomics of the world. It's really not a question. There's just two forces. Which one are you going to align with? It's kind of like Star Wars.
A lot of people end up becoming drug addicts. It happened to me. That's why a lot of people end up becoming alcoholics. It happened to me. Because you're no longer relying on a belief system of a deity and a prophet to save you. You come to the understanding, I have to save myself.
Yeah,
I have
that
to come
happened
to
to me
my
too.
own understandings. People want to talk about demons and angels. You don't realize you are the demons and angels. When you feeling bad and you having negative thoughts, that's you doing it to yourself. That's not.
Yeah, he's totally right. So, this enlightenment can lead you to like a depressed state because you realize like everything's a lie. And then when my son died, I was at the bottom of a bottle for like 2 years because, every waking second of my life, I was picturing his face, in a unalive state. And I was in a crisis at that time religiously at the same time. And so then what he's saying about demons and angels coming from within you. So yeah, the part about the demons, not necessarily the angels coming from within you, is correct. If you actually really pay attention to what the Bible says about demons, there's two different sets. There's daemons, which are princely like princely kings of the dark realm. And then there are demons, which are manifested from you, your fears, your insecurities, your traumas, your evil side, your, you know, and what the angel he's talking about is the parental ego, the part that's connected to God, your instinct, the voice that says, hold on a minute, watch out here, caution, or the voice that feels discipline in a healthy way inside your head. And when that parental voice is healthy, it's a angelic connection to direct connection to God. And when it's not healthy, there's a lot of dark entities that the voices in your head, the itty bitty shitty committee in your head, those are the demons, you know what I mean? So the parental voice becomes toxic, and that's when you're connected to the darker realm. That's when the devil's at your heels. Now, that's not a judgment on you. That doesn't mean you're an evil person. You have to face darkness if you want to be a warrior of light. Like you by default, you have to dance with the devil and win and fight him to wear the title of a warrior, to be defined as good. And to be evil, to be defined as evil, you have to be faced with opportunities to be noble and choose against that. So, everyone experiences these things in life, so just because you're, got the itty bitty shitty committee going on in your head, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. You just, what are you going to do with this? Are you going to use this to shape you and mold you into achieving the life that you really want? Or is it going to consume you?
A demon fucking with you, you're fucking with yourself. When you having positive experiences, you feel positive, that's angels. You are your own angel.
There you go.
You are both your own demon and your own angel. You know how the demon on the shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder? Why do you think they on your shoulder?
What'd I say?
Both of them are you.
Yeah.
If you ever took psychedelics before, you will understand what I'm saying. Psychedelics, what they do is they just show you what's going on inside your own mind. A lot of people will take psychedelics.
That is true to a point on different levels. I'm certified through Harvard in neuroscience because I wanted to supplement my psychology degree with that. So really think we should understand how the brain as an organ, as a computer, as a processor works. Psychedelics, when used properly, can be very beneficial for trauma. It can be very beneficial for spiritual connection and revelation. I don't promote the use of pharma. I think that's something you and a psychiatrist should talk about. However, as a spiritualist, I support the use of what God has given us on this earth that grows out of the ground and that natives have used for 8 millennia. I will say millennia because, I believe humans have been here a lot longer than, Christendom wants you to believe. But I think that done the way the natives do it for a spiritual goal, used as a spiritual tool in medicine with someone that is there with you to keep you grounded, who's experienced and certified, like ayahuasca retreats, like ibogaine. There's been a lot of reports how successful ibogaine has been, and it's a one and done thing. I'm looking into doing that for myself. And there's DMT. I've had 3 breakthroughs, and the first time, the entities that everyone talks about, I saw them all. They showed me how everything was constructed. The second breakthrough, they showed me time and dimension, and that, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps. And then the third time I had my breakthrough, my cousin just died brutally a week before. And he showed up in it and tethered me with this like spiritual cord. He hugged me tight, said it was going to be okay, just to trust him. He's going to show me something. I felt the earth like tear from beneath me. It felt almost like an umbilical cord, some sort of death and birth. And he took me to meet God, and I literally had the most, my life changed in an instant. I went from, drinking all the time to 2 or 3 drinks a month, just occasionally, socially. I'll tell you what it was. I was in a place when I met God. There's an in-between realm, and I saw like the glow world, like that's like Nilfgaard, I swear to you. And little fairies kind of escorted me from that realm to this realm, and this one little fairy stayed with me, sitting right here between. And when I got to this place with her, she was just one little blue light. It was infinite, cloud-like but flesh-like color, with golden hieroglyphics that were like written, scrolling, that I know was not an earthly language. And then I'm just like in awe. I felt so like home. And I'm like, where is this place? I feel like this is home. Like I completely forgot I was in a DMT breakthrough. And this fairy is like, you only got so much time, kid. Like she starts flying in this letter J over and over. And I'm like, what does that mean? And she's just getting more frantic. And then I instinctually realize she wants me to, I notice the environment around me is breathing, and she wanted me to breathe with it. So I started breathing with it in sync. And then I just start bawling because I realized, oh my God, I am with God, the all, the everything. My husband recorded the whole thing. I'm shaking right now. And then he looked it up after I described this to see, like, if I don't know, I guess Google what I described to be as being with God. And that's when I found Sean Ryan, right? Who just had a DMT breakthrough. Ryan was like, look at this. And he described almost the exact same thing. And it just like, I was like, I turned to my husband and I was like, I know what pure love is now. And I don't know how to explain it. But now I'm not afraid to die. And it's kind of sad on one end because you kind of come out of it realizing like no one knows what love means. You start seeing it in people all around you. You see the calcified pineal glands all around you, the zombies. And it really just made me change my life, and like the way what I put into my body, how I treat other people. And it's given me this fire that you guys see in me to like protect our kids in this country. Anyway, let me go back to the video.
Psychedelics going into it with a closed-minded perspective, and they see all this bad shit, and they be like, oh, I saw a bunch of demons. No, you didn't. That was you was looking at. That was inside your own head, all the shit you was going on in there. You take psychedelics and you have a positive experience, that's because you have a positive mind state. That's why.
Well,
all psychedelics do is show you your own mind. That's all.
That depends on what you're using. Definitely with pharma, mushrooms can be that way. Peyote is probably going to take you to the darker parts of your brain that you've got to purge, your traumas that you got to purge. Same with ayahuasca. DMT is not going to be that. DMT is love. You feel there's a guide with you. I had the same guide every time, which was wild, which confirmed I was in another realm. It was just as real as, I can't even explain it. It was like, I knew I was loved, even though some of it was precarious. So, DMT is not a toy. Don't microdose it. You're not doing it correctly. Let your body do that. Go find a shaman, do it with a shaman, have a breakthrough, and just crack the calcium out of your pineal gland, and then just let your body pick up. For 3 weeks after all my breakthroughs, I could taste my own DMT being produced out of my brain. And it was it would always happen right before I was going to have an anxiety attack. The drip, my natural drip would start and calm me down. And I could taste it because it tasted the same as when I did my breakthrough. And it was just kind of like wild, man. It was really wild to have a tangible experience, to put some sense to everything that we just are instinctually sensing and knowing we've been lied to about.
Doing. Why do you think the government made psychedelics illegal? Huh?
Right, exactly.
They know what them shits are gonna do. They're gonna show you that evil, good,
Isn't
bad,
it funny how right
positive,
before what
negative,
I
light,
say,
dark,
right
it's
after what I say,
all
he says
you.
something
It's
to
nothing
confirm it?
external outside of you. It's all you. And if everybody were to come to that understanding collectively, things like a government could not exist.
Boom.
Things like religion could not exist.
Right.
And they know that. They don't want that shit to happen.
Exactly.
I'm trying to tell y'all, man.
Because I know, brother, I feel you. I love this guy. His page is Quantum Creation. He's a good man. You can just feel it off him. He's like, I'm trying to tell y'all. I've been trying to tell people forever. Religion is a tool used by the government to control you. If you can put fear in these people over their souls, you can get them to do anything. And being connected to God, truly having a one-way instant message line to God in your instinct and hear it the same way you hear your own thoughts, has been buried and stolen by the Vatican and the Knights Templar and all that conspiracy stuff y'all want to talk about. It is documented. They kept it from you. They went on a scourge against quote unquote witches, which was a derogatory word for people like me who understand that God is found within nature. And I don't like labeling it anything, but Genesis says that Adam would walk with God in the breezy part of the day. That is the way you connect to God. You have to be connected to the earth and the environment in which creation put us in. And they want that dead and gone because they cannot control you. They can't lie to you. If God pops in and goes, they're lying. And you trust it and you know it. So you also realize that the only mechanism that has a right to rule over mankind is our group consciousness of universal virtues, which are told in stories of deities and representative, because for some reason we need these humanoid creatures to demonstrate what it is we need to do. And we really have to put all these things together and study human history, study the things they don't want you to know. What are the elites gatekeeping? I found a book that was like an exuberant amount of price. It was like on Amazon. And, it was a very, very critical book about the way things are and what the hell is going on in this world governmentally. And it's out there, free for you to buy. Problem is, it's incredibly expensive. So who has access to it? The elites. And, they gatekeep all the secrets, everything, the secrets to power. And that is so they can worship the God that they choose and have the energy going to that side, the darker side, And all is fair in love and war. This is just history. We're living, what a time to be alive right now. We're living in history in the making right now. This is a spiritual battle that's culminating, and we're feeling that question of who has the right to rule over us. And we all know that it's God. We just have to get on the same page about what that is. And spirituality, not religion, is the answer, because that is what makes you not go against your principles. That's all it is. Okay, let's watch this next video. This is spiritual doesn't mean I'm a pussy.
Please, don't let the spiritual shit fool you. I will still get active with your ass. I'm choosing a better way of living and a better way of seeing life, but I still will slap the fuck out you. Please do not
amen.
take my ability to walk in light as my ability not to tap into darkness. I just refuse to allow myself to lower my...
Now do you guys understand why I said I'm a holy warrior? Some battles are done to protect what is good. Not necessarily what is right, but what is good. And if a little pain is necessary to get there, as long as I don't violate my principles, I keep on trucking.
Vibration to meet you. Currently, you are suffering now, but I will beat the fuck out you in all due disrespect. Don't think just because I'm choosing a better way of living that I don't know how to get back into some ways that I work very hard to leave in the past. I'm going to treat you with respect if you treat me with respect. I give it so that I receive it.
Fair
I
enough.
say peace because I want peace back. But please do not forget, I'm a product of war. I'm still in a war, a spiritual war,
Me
psychological
too.
war,
Yes.
an emotional war.
Yes.
If you want to make this shit a physical war, bitch, shit, strap up and put your boots on.
Amen, brother. We ready for it. We are.
These stones don't mean I'm bitch made. It means that I found something that resonates with the frequency that I'm on currently. and that
Y'all
I will
never noticed me
forever
wearing mine.
Continue to elevate and thrive in. So, just because I walk away don't make me no bitch. Just because I choose not to engage doesn't make me a bitch. Just because I let you say whatever the fuck you gonna say does not make me a bitch. It makes me the better man until you lay a hand on me. And Malcolm X said, if a man lays their hand on you, send them to their creator. So until you feel as if the need to cross that line, say as you may, but don't get this shit fucked up. I'm spiritual, not pussy. But
Hey.
I drop content every day about a Sag. I just felt the need to say this today. And if you like this video, leave a like, a comment, and I'll
My rising sign is a Sagittarius. That's, you guys see, that's what you see in me. It's like this fire. But honestly, like deep down in my heart, I'm like literally such a baby and such a softie. But I am such a bulldog, pit bull for freedom. Don't mess with me. I ain't gonna mess with you. I'm not gonna start a fire. But if you bring the smoke, I don't know. I feel like George Bush right now. I feel like I can't. Look, if you don't want the smoke, don't start a fire. That's what I'm saying. All right. Jesus was a spiritual radical. Let's see what this is.
Know that the teachings of Jesus Christ
She
are
looks
some of the most radical
wild.
and powerful teachings we have for walking a spiritual and magical path. And if you only have heard his teachings
I
through
can't
the
get
lens
past
of
her
organized religion,
outlandishness. Ugh. Oh my God, she looks like a character. She looks like she's going to Comic-Con. See, it's people like this that like ruin it for us. Like, she's just following a fad and making content because, I mean, look, before she goes into that, I'll say this. Jesus did do a lot of magical shit. And he was definitely a started a rebellion against the Jewish synagogues, the Jewish church. So there's that.
you probably don't know what he was actually saying at all. Let's talk about what Christ
McGilvery, the Gnostics. I actually love the Gnostic belief system. I can relate to a lot of it. The Gnostic belief system talks about the law of duality. They talk about Sophia, which is like the matrix that constructs all of our reality. They recognize Jesus and the divinity of Jesus, and they were crusaded out by the Catholic Church.
meant when he said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." When Yeshua says the kingdom of heaven is
She's
within
right.
you, what he means is that heaven is not external. Heaven is a state of consciousness. It's not a place you go to.
That is why, as a psychologist, we learned in grief studies that how important it is when someone is dying, and you can prepare for it to the very best, that they die in the most positive mental state as possible with a lot of support around them. So that way, when the hard stops and the DMT floods the system, they can experience going into a blissful, eternal conscious state. That is how heaven works, how hell works. If you're dying under distress or as a terrorist or someone who's doing an evil deed, likely your consciousness will move to the darker, hellish realms because of what's happening in your mind at that moment of death.
It's a place you've came from. The author and mystic Jim Marion says that the kingdom of heaven teaching is a perfect example that Christ was teaching non-dual or unity consciousness, that there is no separation.
Yes, that is why there seems to be a contradiction in the Bible about Jesus being God or God's son. The Catholic Church is the one that pushed the Trinity doctrine. Jesus would actually get upset with his disciples and say, "Don't worship me, worship God. My Father, we are all children of God," he would say. He would did not want churches set up in his name. He wanted you to gather together like he did, out in nature and have spiritual conversations, but not make a business out of it. But yes, Jesus was desperately trying to get everyone to understand that why love is so important, and that's the only law you need to live under, is because consciousness itself is you God said, created in my image. You are a manifestation. God, you are part of God. He's connected to you. He's having a first person experience of the physical realm through you and each and every other one of us. And that is why your body is a temple. That is why how you treat other people is significantly important. There's a lot that Jesus was trying to get people to understand, that it is a mind state.
Between us and God, there is a mutual indwelling. We flow into God and God flows into us.
Yes.
When Christ says the Father and I are one, this is also what he is speaking to, non-dual consciousness. We are in God and God is in us. Now, if you think about it, Christ has two core teachings. There is no separation between humans and God, and there is no separation.
So this lady is a Christo-pagan, very similar to like me. I don't deny other gods, because all of them are lesser gods. They're lesser than the all. If you look at the definition of the word God, okay, there's two definitions. There's one, something that is worshipped and idolized. Obama's a god. LeBron James is a god. Trump is a god. They're idolized. They are worshipped. People build shrines to these people. So when you start to understand what a god is, it's how much power does this worshipped idol thing have. And then there is the all God, the creator of everything, that deserves true worship, true connection, true, your love and adoration should go there.
In between humans and other humans.
Oh, right. In terms of definition, that's capital G, capital O, capital D, the all. The others are capital G-O-D, whenever capital G, little case O-D. If you notice in the Bible, they're referring to the Lord Jesus. And then there's, you notice, little g, little o, little d in the Bible, and that's referring to just any other lesser god outside of Jesus or Yahweh in the Bible.
Christ's teachings that have been highly misinterpreted is when he says, love your neighbor as yourself. A lot of people read that as love your neighbor the way you would like to be loved.
Nope.
If you actually listen, that's not what Christ is saying. Christ isn't saying treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated. Christ is saying treat your neighbor as they are you, because you guys are one. There is no...
Meaning, if they are hungry, if you would feed yourself, go feed your neighbor. If they are... You look out your window and you see both their cars are broke down. If you would fix your car, go give them a ride.
Separation. When you truly love your neighbor as yourself, you are loving them as a continuation of your own being.
Yes.
There is no binary. We have constructed the binary. We are all...
And that was one of the things that Jesus listed when the apostles were asking, like, of all the laws, like, what do we remember? And that was one of the ones when he was like, above all these things, remember, love God above all, and love thy neighbor as thyself.
a part of the same unified field. And in this context, in this cosmology, sin isn't something bad you do. Sin is something that takes you out of unity consciousness.
There you
go. It takes you out of the non-binary into the binary.
The law of duality. It takes you back into that yin and yang. That's why one side has why each side has a little spot of the other.
The irony is that modern religion is almost doing everything exactly opposed to what Christ taught us to do.
Yep.
Being born again isn't saying a prayer so you won't go to hell. Being born again is coming into the awareness that we are in God.
Yes, correct. Kind of like what happened in my DMT trip.
God is in us, and we are all in each other. We are all continuations of the same one being.
I think that was the first thing I said when I came out of that breakthrough. I think the first thing I said when I met God was, we're all just a figment of the all's thoughts being projected into some sort of 3D realm. And it's quite marvelous when you start to shed off the chains of propagandized religion. Oh my gosh, there is a hair in my face. It's tickling the shit out of me. Oh my god. There we go. Okay.
Christ was a master of non-dual consciousness. In the Gospel
Yep.
of Mary Magdalene, Christ says that essentially sin
Now, the problem that you run into with people like this, she's not wrong in anything she's saying, but these are going to be people that support the whole gender issue we're having. You know, that's my issue with that community.
isn't real. Original sin, it's not a thing. That we were born good, that we have original goodness. And sin is what happens when we fall out of that state of knowing that God and I are one.
So when Christ died for our sins, he took it from being a sin to a shortcoming, which is very different. It's no longer a placed on the realm of wickedness. It's just it's a shortcoming, not a sin, because most people are inherently good.
And that you and I are one. Christ knew his teachings were going to be misunderstood. That's why he says, those that have ears, let them hear. We are meant to awaken to these teachings when we are ready for them.
Yeah.
And the unified field is
Yep.
why practices like manifestation
Really, truly modeling Jesus Christ will get you shunned by modern day Christianity. Really, truly modeling him will get you treated like a witch by Christendom and all of how their followers are programmed to think.
actually.
And Jesus said, if you follow me to the T, you will be persecuted. And if you knew kind of the stuff Charlie was into, Charlie was very, very enlightened. I'll just have to say.
Work, right? Because we are all connected. Now, whether these teachings were purposefully distorted or just wildly misunderstood, I will leave up to you to decide. Did you know that
I think one of the issues, I'll save this for another show, not just a side thought on Charlie Kirk, but like it's interesting because there's some rumors going around, something I picked up on. And you know, Charlie was like, there were some messages that came out about how he really actually truly was trying to convert to Catholicism, which would have been a huge issue for Eric Kirk. But we'll save that for tomorrow because I really want to put together some evidence for you guys to circumstantial. It's not proof, it's just evidence. All right. Christ's consciousness and spirituality.
Jesus was a mystic. Jesus was a mystic. Jesus was not crucified for the sin of man, but instead crucified because man could not understand him, could not control him, and could not profit off of him. And so what did they do? They crucified him, and then they created...
He also started an entire rebellion against the synagogues, and they were getting paid a lot of money. If you remember the money table he flipped over.
a religion which
He was causing a lot of political dissent.
they could profit off of his teachings by misconstruing them.
Yep.
Jesus did not teach us that we were all separate from God and that the only way that we could truly reach God was through him. Jesus taught that we all had God within us, that we all had the powers that he was displaying to us inside of us, that we all had access to that power.
Yes.
Jesus was an ascended master.
Yay.
An ascended master is someone who knows all of the secrets, who is able to come here and become spiritually awakened 100%, to be able to release their ego. That is why they say that Jesus had no sin.
Yeah, so you have the id, the ego, and the superego. The ego is the present self, the preservation, self-preservation. I mean, it's just, you have the id, which is your child-like self, your natural inner child. And then your you right now is the ego, you in present day. And then the superego, which is the parental. So shedding the ego is like shedding off the insecurities, shedding off the bad voice that causes you to doubt, the one that makes you think negative things about your higher power.
Because sin is ego. When we talk about what sin is living in your ego. If you think about what our ego is, our ego...
self-gratification, selfishness, greed, jealousy, lust.
Is greed, is lust, is not caring about other people, right? And that's what sin is. And so Jesus was without sin because he had the biggest awakening and ego death in the 3 years that he was away from 30 to 33. And when he came back, he was prophesying to people the truths that he had found. And the truths that he had found was that we all had the kingdom of heaven within us, right? That our bodies were literally the temple, that our bodies held the Spirit of God. And so I find it so unfortunate now, as I have stepped away, I think, from really.
And let me add, I will say, the reason why I'm so much for borders in the country is because I love my neighbors.
Aligning with modern day Christianity, that I've also been met with a lot of, Jesus loves you, this isn't, Christ-like, whatever, because stepping away from modern day Christianity has been very hard for me, right? I came from a very, very orthodox, very conservative religion growing up, and I think that...
Me too, girl. There's a comment over here on the side that says, by Shivam, that says Jesus wasn't a mystic. Shivam is an Indian person. He said, this user, he says he was a siddha, perfect being who can express miracles. He doesn't understand that the word mystic is a generalized word for the same thing he's saying, which is just unique to his religion. A siddha, that's a noun from his specific religion. But the word mystic covers like all the religious terms, like a sage, a siddha, a demon, whatever. The Bible says demons and angels walk among us. So when you say a mystic, they could be a light worker, an angel, a demon, whatever. So he was saying he was a siddha, a perfect being who can express miracles. He studied under the siddha, and all his teachings align with the siddha tradition. There are historical books that describe a man like Jesus that traveled to Asia during the time of the Bible where Jesus goes missing. He's just like not there in the Bible. He's gone. Y'all know what I'm talking about, from like that young age of like 12 till he gets baptized. And then he comes back to the Middle East. He was actually off studying in Asia, in the Far East. Some theologians, scholars, and archaeologists think it's Buddha he studied under, but Siddha, but others think he also came to North America, and because there's evidence there of him, with the natives, and then the Mormons basically exploiting that. And so, he went and learned from a lot of like the mystics that were connected to nature, that believed in meditation, like a group consciousness, mass consciousness, God consciousness, and then came back and kind of incorporated, okay, so here's what I know to be wrong with the Jews. You guys are missing this entire piece on what it means to be love and connected, to be like God means to be love. So he was trying to get them to understand that this is what is making you guys dysfunctional, and of course they murdered him for it.
Had a lot to do with how I see Christianity in the lens that I see it in now. Fast forward to as an adult, I tried kind of the, other side of it. I tried more of a progressive Christian church, and I just consistently found one thing: the community skews Christ. The churches skew Christ.
Yeah, they do very much.
If you go to a church, you're going to hear so many different teachings.
The reason why is because the Catholic Church had to guarantee penance was paid to the church. So the Catholics defiled the Bible in some areas to justify monetary payment for your sins. So they had to guarantee that sin would happen by connecting all your natural impulses, natural desires, the things that keep you, that are programmed into you as a human being, to make them sinful. And that way penance was guaranteed to be paid to the church.
so many different doctrines, so many different things, right? And I found that Christ was being used as an agenda, not as a gateway of healing, like a lot of churches teach that they're doing.
The
right?
cult of
And so when I talk
Christianity
about
was born
Christianity, I am not talking
after
about
they murdered his best friends.
Christ being bad. Christ was amazing. Christ was an energy that I still call upon a lot in my spiritual practices. What I am saying when I say fuck Christianity is fuck the propaganda that is taught to us that we need a man to connect with God.
Boom. She's got it. You don't need to go ask a priest to speak to God on behalf of you. You are worthy. You are worthy just because you exist. You are just as much a part of God as a priest. And let's be truth be told, priests don't have a good track record.
Marriage is only between a man and a woman, that, you know, that we should fear hell. Like, fuck the propaganda that is teaching us that we don't have our own true personal power and that we should be disconnected from that. Fuck the religion that has oppressed my people for many, many generations, right? Christianity was literally used to enslave black people for hundreds of years, and black people are still...
Okay, don't even with that, because religion is used when everyone was enslaved everywhere, and whites were enslaved before anybody else. So anyhow, let's skip this one because now she's lost me. I don't want to hear any freaking race propaganda brought into that shit. All right, let's look at the science of spirituality. Uh-oh.
Practices, it's definitely not a waste of time. Practices.
TikTok's glitching. So I talk to you guys about like quantum. You hear me drop that word a lot of times. Understanding the realm around you, the world around you, and how to actually live symbiotically with your environment and how that applies spiritually. This video, I hope, is if we're getting into the science of spirituality production.
I've got something that's gonna
how I think. So let's hear it.
Blow your mind, and it combines legit peer-reviewed brain science, spirituality, psychology, and those people who use the term energy when they're talking about spirituality. Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm a deep skeptic, also a pastor. Okay, so like I said, I'm a deep skeptic, and I've always sort of rolled my eyes when people would use the term energy in regards to spirituality and auras and all of that kind of stuff. And then I moved to Northern California. It will be surprising to no one that they use that terminology a lot more there. And so I was actually having coffee with a guy that was a physician, and he was using that kind of terminology, and he could tell that I was inwardly rolling my eyes if I wasn't outwardly rolling my eyes. So he said to me, Jeremy, I can tell you're skeptical. I have a question. Have you ever had an EKG? And I said, yeah, I've had to have that before. And he said, do you know what it's measuring? And I said, yes, like measuring the electrical impulses and the heart muscles and all of that. And he said, yeah, that's right. And then he asked me this question. He said, where did they put the electrodes? I said, on my chest. He said, outside your chest or inside your chest? And I was like, outside, of course. And he's like, so they were measuring electrical impulses outside your body. And I was like, oh. It's like, yeah, energy is escaping our body
all the time.
So that blew my mind.
That's why
It
your
sent me down.
emotions. So there's a bundle of nerves at the bottom of your heart that directly leads to the emotional center of the brain. Your emotions, okay, put out your heart puts out electrical energy. Your emotions will literally change an entire room if you are a very big, strong energy.
On a whole other new path of spiritual exploration. But let me tell you what I just learned. So they do that with the brain, right? Measuring electricity that is going on inside the brain, but it's, sensors on the outside. And there was this research done, peer-reviewed, legit, actual research, where they were trying to see what was happening in the brain when people had like intense spiritual experiences. So they were able to locate the location of it. They can also measure the frequency, which is really interesting. And it turns out spiritual experiences activate the same part of the brain at the same frequency as SSRIs,
Yep.
which is the antidepressant medication that is used by a whole lot of people. And they were able to find a protective quality against recurrence of.
So what they're saying is that the spiritual experience showed an antagonist against the depressive chemicals in the brain.
Of depression from people who had spiritual experiences. And I'm not making this up. This is legit peer-reviewed science. It actually comes from a book called The Awakened Brain by Lisa Miller, and it is really fascinating. Don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you that you should stop taking your antidepressant medication and start praying. That would be a ridiculous conclusion to make.
Of course, because brain architecture sometimes requires medication to level out the chemical balance. But what he is saying is, even if you are on them, practicing meditation on or off of them is something everyone should do, because it's learning to access the part of the brain that starts to heal the trauma areas. And then you can, just through keeping in touch with your therapist and your psychiatrist, I'm sure as you heal your thoughts, they will notice. And medications get revisited and sometimes taken away.
But what I am saying is that the connection between spirituality and the brain and all of that is way bigger, way more significant than I think we even.
It is necessary for your mental health, is what he's saying. Because when the brain was on when they had the electrodes on their head during these spiritual experiences, the brain showed that the experience acted as an antagonist against the depressive and anxiety-ridden chemicals, the chemicals that cause those two things. So you have to be connected to God to be mentally well. If you're not, life is really fucking hard. Not saying you can't do it. Plenty of people do it. But even the powerful are connected to some kind of God. They all have faith. We just have different source.
Understand now. And even if you're not sure if God exists, this stuff shows that exploring spirituality and spiritual practices,
meditation, people,
it's definitely not a waste of time.
You need to look into meditation. All right. I'm going to need to get the screen names of these. Does the Bible condemn witches? That's the next video.
So people say to me, "You're a witch."
Here we go. TikTok being a problem.
God said in the Bible.
She's animated.
So people say to me, "You're a witch." God said in the Bible that witches are evil. God said, don't do magic and witchcraft. God said, God didn't say that. I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to give you proof. God didn't say that. A 2,000-year-old book that most Christians do not know where it came from or who wrote it said that.
Said that.
And why? Did they go deep into research to discover why does this book say that?
Of course not. They just lap up whatever they're told.
And should I follow it? I'm going to
Very
tell
much.
you something that is quite shocking. From Joel Bates,
She's got to be
professor
Trinidadian.
of divinity. Well, he's a professor.
Oh,
of
she moved from
Bible
Trinidad to New York.
divinity.
That's my sister. Sister from another mister. All right.
He said the Bible wasn't written for us. He said this is a professor of Hebrew Bible. He said the Bible isn't a spiritual book.
It's political.
The Bible isn't a holy book. He said the Bible is literature.
Yeah. It doesn't mean it doesn't
The
have a lot of good
Bible
things to
is
follow.
Literature. Think on that. Meditate on that. What?
Yeah, I mean, the whole entire story of Jesus is told in a third person account. Don't forget that. There's a lot of significant. I'm not discrediting the Bible. I think it is inspired by God, but I also think there are other books before it that are too.
No one who wrote part of the Bible thought they were writing a Bible. Meditate on that. Meditate on that. No.
Yeah, they thought they were writing historical books. I mean, if you can line up the Bible with the other previous, all the other holy books, and it does become a historical document, and it also becomes a political one. It's a very, very significant book tied to our very existence, I believe.
One who wrote what we currently have in the Bible thought they were writing a Bible. They were writing letters. They were writing literature.
That's true. They were writing letters. They got compiled. Mm-hmm.
They were writing ancient Sumerian legends and tales and mythologies with truths mattered in.
Yeah.
They were not
telling each other stories.
When they were writing it, let me write a Bible. No one woke up in the morning and said, not one Bible writer, of whom
that's true.
We don't even know who wrote it.
No, we do know who wrote them. You just need to study it.
Not one woke up in the morning and said, I think I'm going to write a Bible today.
She's sassy.
And their husband or their wife or their friend or their boo or their lover or whomever said,
oh well, yeah, I wonder why.
It's a big book. A lot of people are going to follow it. They're going to think it came from God. You're going to write a book and people are going to think the book came from God. I got to see this, because what would convince people?
Well, where's the proof about the witches? Come on, girl.
You're writing a book. I know you. You was just fighting with somebody down at the inn last night. You're going to write a book and people are going to think it's from God. Yeah, I'm going to write it. And it's called the Bible. No, said no one.
She's not wrong. These books were all separate that they put together.
I absolutely love the book. Why do you think the book is binding on you? No, the book is not binding on you. The book wasn't even written for you. Now, that does not mean that you cannot get benefit from the book. I get benefit from the book all the time. I pick the book up. I might read something in the book that's inspiring. I might read something in the book that brings me to tears. I might read something in a book that causes me to have an amazing revelation, epiphany, a satori moment.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I almost wore one of those on my forehead today because I was doing a spiritual one.
We have proof.
To honor my Indian roots.
All in my book. It's link in bio. The real God is not in the Bible. So when people tell you,
the real God is not in the Bible. The Bible is about two gods. The first one is Yahweh, who is the same God as the Roman god Saturn. It's a war god. If you remember the book of the Bible, in the first half in the Hebrew scriptures, a very angry God, jealous God who committed many acts of genocide. And then there's Jesus, who ascended to heavenly kingship. But you do see references to the divine, the all, the everything, here and there, because you can't not reference that when talking on all these other matters. But it's been put together in a way where that's not as obvious. And you really have to be very keenly astute and studied and aware person to spot this stuff and know how to sort it all out. I love this comment. King Solomon was the first ever witch and literally wrote the book on witchcraft. That is like one of the truest things I've seen in this thread. King Solomon came from the Babylonian realm, who were taught by the Sumerians, who were taught by aliens, a lot of technology that seemed like magic. Now, Solomon, if you remember Samson, I would debate her a little bit because Samson, I didn't mean Solomon. Solomon was Jewish. I was talking about Samson. That's what I meant about the Babylonian area. Samson, I would debate her on because he wouldn't cut his hair. And because it's what gave him strength. And his Jewish, I think she was Jewish. His wife, who was Jewish, Delilah, or close to being Jewish. Maybe she was Shiite. I'm not sure. But I think she was the daughter of a shepherd chief. Maybe a Midianite. Not sure. but she cut his hair in the middle of his sleep. So I would beg to differ with the King Solomon thing. I think it's earlier than that. But yeah, King Solomon was not from Babylon. He was Jewish, I believe. Or from the line of David or something like that. I'm not sure. And this other person commenting, I found out there are more witches in churches than any other place in the world. I found out when I was leaving my culty religion that the headquarters uses spirit riders. And I was just like, what? And now you go sit here and telling people in church that God, when they say God told them something, you question them and condemn them about it. Let's see. Devil Dog Daddy John, SJ Potts. I'm a follower of yours. I like your posts and content. Thank you so much. Are you from the UK or from Australia? Okay. Let's keep this video going.
And you can find the explanation if you go into deep research of the Bible. Most people don't even love the Bible enough to actually research the Bible. Where did it come from?
Yeah, that's true.
How did we have it? What is Codex Sinaiticus? What is
you
Codex
should watch Billy
Alexandrinus?
Carson. He's a black
What
guy.
is
On the
Septuagint? What
like,
is the Masoretic text?
tied to the ancient aliens people and the ancient civilizations people.
What are the Dead Sea Scrolls?
On the Gaia
What's the
Network.
Nag Hammadi Library? Most people don't love the Bible enough to really find out what the Bible is really about.
The
and what
Hammadi
it's
Library,
really
yeah.
saying and what it's really passing on to humanity. So don't tell me anything about the Bible.
It really is passing on a very magical key, a consciousness key. It's a tragedy. Most people miss it.
If you're not researching the Bible, if you got all your information about the Bible in church, you're sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. That book is not for you. That book was not written to be a Bible. That book is not binding upon you. That book is an extremely valuable book. That book has hexes
Yep.
and curses and aliens
Yep.
and dragons
Yes.
and spaceships
And portals, yes.
and allegory and mythology.
Yes.
It's got Greek gods.
Yes.
It's got
Babylonian
it's got,
gods, Baal, Gog of Magog. There's a lot.
the goddess. It's got, this book is mind-blowing if you really knew what was in that book. Mind-blowing. I promise you, if they ask me, you're going to be on a deserted island for the rest of your life, what do you want? I would say, without hesitation, give me the Bible. You can only take one item. Give me the Bible. I'm just going to be here with the Bible. Not because I think it's a holy book. Not because I think it's from God. Not because I think it's binding upon me. Not because I think that somehow I'm beholden to listen to this book. No, because this book is humanity's book, and this book is preserving wisdom
Yes.
that people tended to and wrote and passed on and passed on and passed on.
Yep.
This book is magical by itself.
Yeah.
Because why did all these people say it takes such care,
Yeah.
and such devotion, and such
Attention. Yeah.
attention to these books and putting them together and
Mm-hmm.
hiding them in caves and burying them when the marauders were coming and writing them over and over and over and passing them.
There's a comment here on the side. It says, I have ancestors, Appalachian mountain witches who are also Christian. No devil or evil in their craft. Interesting. My ancestors, who come from Scotland, the reason why I'm a 5th generation American, were Druids, part of the Skull and Bones lore you've heard of in a certain movie. And I'm from the Appalachian area. Isn't that funny?
On to people and writing it again. They didn't have typewriters, they didn't have computers. Obviously, there's something important about all that. Not just for Christians, not just for Jewish people, for the whole world. There's
Yep.
something important about that for the whole
Whole
world.
world.
So any person, be you witch, be you
She is in
preacher,
Casadega.
pastor, shaman,
Oh, we
if
have to
you
meet her.
want, if you are led to, you can pick up a Bible.
Oh,
Christian.
that's right. I have a picture right by that tree behind her. I was there. It did look familiar. I was looking at it and I'm like, that place back there looks so familiar. I was there. This is a very spiritual place that she's at called Casadega around Lake Mary, Florida. There's 4 vortexes on that property. And when I tell you you can feel them, you can feel them. And I had a lot of beautiful experiences down there. That's all I'll say.
Telling people, why are you reading the Bible? You're a witch. Witches can't read the Bible. The Bible
People travel the world to come to this place.
says that. It sounds very kindergartenish and extremely elementary when you consider the vastness of this book and that anyone can access this book, and indeed everyone is free to, because it's not a religious book. A Muslim, an Islamic person can have a Bible. A Jewish person can have the whole Bible, the Jewish Bible and the Christian Bible.
Yep.
It's not a spiritual book. And if we take our spiritual lens off, if we stop looking at the Bible like it's a spiritual book, we can start to really understand what the Bible is actually saying.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong.
The message
you have to disconnect from it emotionally to really understand it, and then you can reconnect with it.
Nature. I freaking love you. Mwah. Peace.
I love her. I make so much. Look at her eyebrows too. Oh my gosh. Before I got my eyebrows fixed, that's what mine looked like. She looks like my aunties, I swear. She is from the country my mother is from. I love this sister. She's beautiful. I don't know how old she is. She could be anything. I mean, they don't ever age. My mother never aged. I have big shoes to fill. Whew. All right. So, I think we got one more video. The truth about the Bible.
It has become clear to me that most Christians have no idea how the Bible was put together. It's like they just think it dropped out of the sky one day, already leather bound with Jesus' words in red. But the reality is that it is a messy collection of letters, stories, non-eyewitness accounts, poems, and historical documents, legal documents. And they were debated, argued over, cherry-picked by church councils centuries after Jesus lived. And Jesus wasn't even his name, but somehow it's the name above all names. I'll save that for another video. Anyway,
but that's just the English pronunciation of Yeshua.
Were left out. Stories were altered on purpose. Translations came from other translations, each one losing more and more of the meaning from the original Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek.
Yep.
Then comes King James.
Oh, yes, our friend.
Most modern Christians will swear by. He actually commissioned his version not for purity, not for accuracy. He did it to consolidate his own power.
Yep.
He did it to control the masses and justify his monarchy. And the truth is, he was a violent, manipulative ruler who knew exactly how to use religion as a weapon. And it's just crazy to me that people are still using it as a weapon today. But ask most Christians about this and they'll look at you like you're speaking in another language.
Yeah, they'll condemn you.
Because they've been taught
to do it.
To never.
You can't question it. And if you question it, you must be an apostate. You must be of the devil.
Question the book. Even though the book itself has been questioned, edited, and weaponized for 2,000 years. And anytime you do question it, you get this circular logic that the Bible is true because the Bible says it's true. And they usually quote a line from a letter that Paul wrote to Timothy when they say that. When somebody says the Bible is true because the Bible says it's true, it's like plugging a power strip into itself and expecting electricity. Circular logic is not proof. It's just blind faith talking to itself. But if people actually did the research, if they knew what was left out and why, and if they understood how much of modern Christianity is built on mistranslation
do your research
and political agendas,
you won't have to. You will not have to let go of Christ to know the truth. That was his point. You will lean so much more into him the more you study the truth about the Bible. Like, you have to question everything we're told, all the narratives, and when the truth becomes clear, you look at it so differently and you find yourself closer to Christ. So that's all I got for you today. Do your research. I will see you guys either later tonight if I get my headache to go away, or tomorrow for sure. If I come on tonight, it'll be my nightcap edition. But I have got to take an ibuprofen. So anyway, see you guys later. I love you guys so much. Please donate to my Venmo. If you're on YouTube, it's right down here at the bottom. If you're on Instagram, it's right here above me. All right. I will talk to you guys later.